Manta-Ray79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days! Alrighty, let's get started. Pressing the A button now. Loading game and proceeding. Here we are in the main menu, going to edit deck menu. And now in today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is a Keter Sanctuaries, Omniscience Regalia, Minerva, D-BT09, and okie dokie, let's get started. So selecting the deck, entering edit deck, and off we go. Here we are in the edit deck menu, and like I just mentioned before, the deck I'm building in today's deck profile video is a Keter Sanctuaries, Omniscience Regalia, Minerva deck, made up of cards only available up until D-BT09. So let's get started. Going to the filter settings and to pack, show only cards from D-BT1, Genesis of the 5 Greats, D-BT2, Rush of the Legends, D-BT3, Advance of Intertwined Stars, D-BT4, Awakening of Chakrabarti, D-BT5, Triumph of Return of Brave Heroes, Festival Collection 2021, Festival Collection 2022, Promo Pack number 1, D-BT6, Blazing Dragon Reborn, D-BT7, Raging Flame Against Emerald Storm, D-BT8, Minerva Rising, and D-BT9, Dragon Tree Invasion. Apply filter, filters apply, let's get started. First, the Grade 3 lineup. And now, for the Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck, Grade 3, Omniscience Regalia, Minerva. Skills, first skill, continuous as a Vanguard. During your turn, if your soul has a Grade 3 card with Regalia in its card name, all of your front row units gets plus 5,000 power. Second skill, action as a Vanguard, once per turn. Cost, Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, look at the top card of your deck, put it on top of your deck or into your soul. Third skill, auto as a Vanguard, once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attacks. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, cost, Counter Blast 1 and Soul Blast 3. And discard a card with only Genesis for its clan from hand. If the cost is paid, stand this unit and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. So for Minerva, she's the main Grade 3 to ride in this deck. Her skill is the first skill. When the conditions of the first skill are met, your entire front row, including your Vanguard and rear guard, gets plus 5,000 power, giving you more power to work with. And the second skill, by paying the cost, you can preview the top card of your deck to either to leave it on top of your deck or to use it to build up your soul for later soul blasting. And the third skill, after attacking, when the conditions of the skill are met, you pay the cost, you can restand your Vanguard for another attack. And alright, the Grade 3 Omniscience Regalia Minerva. We have 4 in the deck, 1 in the right deck, 3 in the main deck. Up next, the Grade 3 Regalia Wisdom Angelica. Skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of battle, this unit attacked. If you have a Vanguard Minerva in its card name, cost, Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. Then, cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, countercharge 1. So for Angelica, a support card for the Minerva deck for skill. After attacking, while the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, not only do you get to give your Vanguard a little extra power to work with, but you can also build up your soul for later soul blasting and to also refund your counterblast for later skills. Okie dokie, the Grade 3 Regalia of Wisdom Angelica. We have 4 in the deck. And next, the Grade 3 Normal Order Gradia Gradel. Skills, first skill, Regulus Piece. You may only have 1 Regulus Piece in your deck and use it a total of 1 time in a fight. Second skill, Order. Play this if you have a Grade 3 Vanguard with Persona Ride and you do not ride this turn. Activate Persona Ride. Draw a card. All of your front row units get plus 10,000 power this turn and you have regarded to Persona Road. So for Gradia Gradel, a powerful order card to play in the D standard format with its skills. By playing this order card while the conditions that are met, you can activate the Persona Ride effect, which is drawing more cards, giving your entire front row, Vanguard rear included, a huge boost of power, and any skills that require you to have Persona Road that turn, this order card can then substitute that effect to let you activate those skills. And affirmative, the Grade 3 Gradia Gradel. We have 1 in the deck. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 3 lineup. Next, let's get on to the deck's Grade 2 lineup. And now for the Grade 2 lineup. For the Grade 2s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck, Grade 2, Witch of Ravens, Chamomile. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is rolled upon by a unit with only Genesis for its clan, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 cards from among them, put them into your soul, and shuffle your deck. Second skill, Auto. When this card is put from soul into drop during your turn, if you have a Vanguard of Minerva in its card name, cost Counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, call this card to rear guard. So for Chamomile, the main grade 2 to ride in this deck, its skills, the first skill, when ridden on top of by a Genesis unit, you have the chance to check the top 5 cards of your deck for 2 cards to add to your soul for later soul blasting. Second skill, when moved from soul to drop zone, when the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, you can superior call Chamomile to serve as a potential front row attacker. And alright, the grade 2, Witch of Ravens Chamomile, we have 4 in the deck, 1 in the right deck, 3 in the main deck. Up next, the grade 2, Atrocious Moth Girl Maple. Skills, first skill, Auto from the drop zone. When your grade 3 or greater Vanguard is placed during your right phase, if you do not have a unit with Maple in its card name, and you may call this card to the rear guard. If there are 2 copies of this card in drop, you may only call 1. Second skill, Glitter Thigria. Active if your Vanguard is a Glitter with Thigria in its card name. Auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked, cost Soul Blast 1 or more cards. If the cost is paid, choose a card from your soul with the same grade as the sum of the grades of the cards Soul Blasted for this cost. Put it into your hand and put this unit into your soul. So for Maple, a pretty good grade 2 to play in your Keter Sanctionation decks if its skills. The first skill, when in the drop zone, when you ride a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, you can superior call Maple to serve as a potential front row attacker. And the second skill, since this second skill mainly works with the Thigria deck, we're just gonna skip ahead. So, okay, the grade 2, Atrocious Moth Girl Maple, we have 1 in the deck. Next, the grade 2, Wisdom of Beginning that cleared the world. Order, play this at a cost of Counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, draw 2 cards, choose 2 cards from hand, call them the rear guard if the grade of each of them is less than or equal to your Vanguard, and discard them if not. So for Wisdom of Beginning that cleared the world, a pretty powerful order card to play in your Keter Sanctionation decks if its skill. When the cost is paid, you can draw 2 cards, then superior call 2 rear guards from hand to serve as potential front row attackers, bat row boosters, or rear guards whose skills you wish to take advantage of later in the game. And affirmative, the grade 2, Wisdom of Beginning that cleared the world, we have 3 in the deck. And next, the grade 2, Knight of D-D Decree, Thesis. Skills, first skill, Auto. When this unit is placed on rear guard, if you have a Vanguard of only Genesis for its clan, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, put it into your soul, put the rest in the bottom of your deck in any order. Second skill, Auto as a rear guard. At the end of battle, this unit attacked. If you have a Vanguard with Minerva in its card name, cost Soul Blast 1 and retire this unit. If the cost is paid, choose a card from hand or drop, put it into your soul. If you put from hand, draw a card. So for Thesis, it's a support card for the Minerva deck. Its skills, the first skill, when called to the rear guard, while the conditions of the skill are met, you can check the top cards of your deck to put a card to soul to build up your soul for later soul blasting. Second skill, after attacking, but as long as the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, you can then take any card from your hand or drop to put into your soul, restocking your soul for later soul blasting. And confirm the grade 2, Knight of D-D Decree, Thesis, we have 4 in the deck. And with that, we just about covered the deck's grade 2 lineup. Next, let's get on to the deck's grade 1 lineup. And now for the grade 1 lineup. For the grade 1s in this deck, we are playing Right Deck, grade 1, Witch of Frogs Melissa. Skills, first skill, Auto. When this unit is rolled upon by a unit with only Genesis for its clan, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 cards from among them, put them into soul, and shuffle your deck. Second skill, Auto. When this card is put into drop from soul, if you have a Vanguard of Minerva in its card name, call this card to the back row rear circle. If you called it, you may soul charge 1. So for Melissa, she's the main grade 1 to ride in this deck. Her skills, the first skill, when ridden on top of by a Genesis unit, you can check the top 5 cards to your deck for up to 2 cards to add to your soul for later soul blasting. Second skill, when moved from soul to drop zone while the conditions of the skill are met, not only do you get to superior call Melissa as a back row booster, but you can also soul charge to build up your soul for later soul blasting. Alrighty, the great 1, Witch of Frogs Melissa, we have 4 in the deck, 1 in the right deck, 3 in the main deck. Next up, the great 1, Aegismere Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, Auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units and cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from hand and discard it. So for Aegismere, a Perfect Guard for the Keter Sanctionation, like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard Trading Card game, it features the same skill and activation, which is, when used to guard with, discard a card from hand, you can block an enemy attack. But it also features an ability unique to all Perfect Guards in the D standard format, which is, when used to guard with, while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Aegismere a potential no-cost perfect guard in desperate last resort situations. And affirmative, the Great One, Aegismere Dragon, we have 3 in the deck. Next up, the Great One, Blitz Order, Elementarius Sanctitude. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, Continuous. You may only have 1 Elementarius Sanctitude in the deck. Third skill, Order. If your opponent's Vanguard has triple drive, this ability can be played without paying the cost. Plays if a cost of, discard a card from hand if your Vanguard is grade 3 or less. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. Remove this card. So for Elementarius Sanctitude, it's the Blitz Order version of the Perfect Guard. Like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation, which is, when played, discard a card from hand, you can block an enemy attack. But ideally, Elementarius Sanctitude works best against opponents who play decks that specialize in having Vanguards of triple drive, for example, Grade 4s, G units, or Vanguards who have their drive checks increased by skill or card effect. Against such opponents, Elementarius Sanctitude then can serve as a potential no-cost perfect guard. And alright, the Great One, Elementarius Sanctitude, we have 1 in the deck. And next, the Great One, Apple Witch Cider. Skills, first skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a Vanguard of Minerva in its card name, you may return this card to your hand. Second skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if your soul has a grade 3 card for Regalia in its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield until end of battle. So for Cider, a support card for the Minerva deck. For skills, the first skill, after boosting attack while the conditions of her skill are met, you can return Minerva from your rear guard to your hand to serve for your later game strategy. And the second skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, Cider then can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield on her own. And confirm, the Great One, Apple Witch Cider, we have 4 in the deck. And of that, we just about covered the deck's Great One lineup. Next, let's get on to the Grade 0 lineup. And here we are, the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck, Grade 0, Vivid Rabbit. Skill, auto. When this unit is ruled upon, if you went second, draw a card. So for Vivid Rabbit, it's the starting unit of this deck, and like any other starting unit in the D standard format, she features the same skill and activation, which is, when you ride on top of it, you can draw more cards. And alright, the Grade 0, Vivid Rabbit, we have 1 in the Ride Deck. And of that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 0 lineup. Next, let's get on to the Trigger lineup. And now for the Trigger lineup. For the triggers in this deck, we are playing Grade 0, Light Dragon D-BT09 Honors, Amatonia, Overtrigger. Skill, trigger, additional effect. Until end of turn, you also perform drive checks during the battles your rear guards attack. So for Amatonia, the Overtrigger for the Keter Sanctuary Nation, like any other Overtrigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation, which is, when revealed during a drive check or damage check, you get 100 million power and draw 1 card. But it also features an ability unique to it alone, which is, when revealed during a drive check on your turn, your rear guards can also perform drive checks during their attacks, giving you the increased chances of getting a trigger or to restock your hand of the increased drive checks. Alrighty, the Grade 0, Light Dragon D-BT09 Honors, Amatonia Overtrigger, we have 1 in the deck. Next up, the Grade 0, White Fang Witch, Disma, Critical Trigger, we have 4 in the deck. Next, the Grade 0, Blade Feather Dragon, Critical Trigger, Skill, Auto as a rear guard. At the end of battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Blade Feather Dragon, a powerful critical trigger to play in your Keter Sanctuary Nation decks with its skill after boosting attack, regardless if you attack it or not, and as long as you don't mind moving Blade Feather from your rear guard into your soul, not only do you get to build up your soul for later soul blasting, but you can also give the remaining attackers in your field, Vanguard or rear guard, a little extra power to work with. Okie dokie, the Grade 0, Blade Feather Dragon, critical trigger, we have 4 in the deck. Next, the Grade 0, Protection Magic, Parabi, Draw Trigger. Skill, continuous as a Guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Parabi, a powerful Draw Trigger to play in your Keter Sanctuary Nation decks of her skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of her skill are met, Parabi then can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield on her own. Affirmative, the Grade 0, Protection Magic, Parabi, Draw Trigger, we have 3 in the deck. Next, the Grade 0, Recuperate Angel, Heal Trigger, we have 2 in the deck. And next, the Grade 0, Affectionate Heart Angel, Heal Trigger, Skill, Auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if your opponent's If your Vanguard's grade is less than your opponent's Vanguard grade, this unit gets plus 10,000 shield until end of battle. So for Affectionate Heart, a powerful heal trigger to play in your Keter Sanctuary Nation decks of her skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of her skill are met, Affectionate Heart can serve as a potential 20,000 point shield on her own. Ideally, Affectionate Heart is a counter heal, best played when you're the second to go in the game, or when your opponent plays a deck that specializes in having a higher grade than your Vanguard, for example, having grade 4s or G units. And alright, the grade 0 Affectionate Heart Angel heal trigger, we have 2 in the deck. And with that, we just about covered the trigger lineup. And with that, the deck's been built, Cardfight explained. For the cards in this deck, we are playing 4 grade 3 Omniscience Regalia, Minerva. 4 grade 3 Regalia of Wisdom, Angelica. 1 grade 3 Gradia Gradel. 1 grade 2 Atrocious Moth Girl Maple. 4 grade 2 Witch of Ravens, Chamomile. 3 grade 2 Wisdom of Begetting that Cleared the World. 4 grade 2 Knight of Deity Decree, Casus. 3 grade 1 Aegis Mare Dragon. 1 grade 1 Elementaria Sanitude. 4 grade 1 Witch of Frogs, Melissa. 4 grade 1 Apple Witch Cider. 1 grade 0 Vivid Rabbit, starting unit. And for the triggers in this deck, we are playing 1 Over Trigger, Amortonia. 8 critical triggers. 3 draw triggers. And 4 heal triggers. And alright, the deck's been built, Cardfight explained. Now let's get on to testing out the deck. And here we are, back to the main menu. We're gonna test out the deck, so going to Fight menu, selecting CPU Fight, choosing the deck I just showcased to you, the Omniscience Regalia, Minerva D-BT09 deck, and selecting deck, choosing my opponent. I think I'm gonna test that deck out on Lyrical Monasterios, Kana Ayoma, normal difficulty, and click. The battle begins, let's get started. Here we are in the fight, gonna decide who goes first, so rock, paper, scissors, shoot! Scissors and rock, I lose going second. Drawing our starting hands, I got myself a Melissa, Chamomile, Thesis, critical trigger, and order card. Just holding on to Thesis and the order card, redraw everything else, redraw! Cider, draw trigger, and perfect guard, not a bad draw. My opponent's turn, she rides the grade 1, Azakir. And of her turn, my turn. Stand and draw. I ride from the right deck, Witch of Frogs, Melissa. Right deck cost, I am discarding the draw trigger for Robbie. Discard and ride, Melissa. Start a skill, draw card. Draw. Heal trigger, come on. Then I call Melissa and Cider to the rear guards. Call. Go into battle phase. First, my right side, Melissa attacks the Vanguard, 8k. The attack goes through, and boom, 1 damage. Damage check. Come on, seriously? A critical trigger? So lucky, triggering the first damage of the turn. Now the rest of my attacks have almost no shot to go through. Fine, Vanguard to Vanguard. 1 trigger to pass. Come on, give me something good. No trigger, unbelievable. The attack fails and so lucky of my opponent. End of my turn, my opponent's turn. She rides the grade 2, Rikashina. Skill the grade 1, Superior Call the rear guard. Calling the rear guard, Yulia. Battle phase, 8k to 8k. No guard, taking it. Here comes 1 damage. Out. Damage check. No trigger, perfect guard. Come on. Vanguard, Vanguard, 10k. No guard, taking it. Drive check. No trigger, grade 1, so 1 damage. Out. Damage check. No trigger. Chamomile, come on! Why are all the good cards leaving my deck? 8 Keter Vanguard, and I have 1 heal in hand, 3 left in deck. Should I guard or not guard? Still early in the game. Next turn, my opponent can ride to grade 3. Better block the damage early. Guard heal trigger. 23k. Attack blocked and... Ka-chink! Safe! And then my opponent's turn, my turn. Stand and draw. I ride from the right deck, Witch of Ravens, Chamomile. Discarding the order card, Wisdom of Beginning that cleared the world. Ride, Chamomile. Skill of Melissa. Check the top cards of my deck to add to soul. Come on, something good. Come on, nothing good. I can't afford to add any of these cards into the soul. Adding nothing to soul, shuffle. So unlucky. Then I activate the order card, Wisdom of Beginning that cleared the world. Counterblast 1, counterblast, and draw 2 cards. Draw. Come on, my over trigger. So unlucky. I call 2 Melissas the rear guard. And hold on, the order card lets me superior call and call them grade and select and call and call. Go into battle phase, Vanguard, 10k. The attack goes through, drive check. Yes! Critical trigger! Finally something's working out! Critical to Vanguard, power to left side Melissa. 2 damage to opponent, and... boom! Damage check first. No trigger. Persona right, 1 less card to worry about. Second check. No trigger, safe. Now boosted by Melissa on the right. Melissa on the right attacks the rear guard. Yulia. 8K, 16k to 8k. The attack goes through. 1 less rear guard to worry about. Boosted by Cider. Melissa on the left attacks the rear guard. Azakir. 26k to 8k. The attack goes through. And boom! 1 less rear guard to worry about. End of my turn. My opponent's turn. My opponent rides to grade 3. Nemish Fortia. Calling to the rear guard. Yulia. Vanguard to Vanguard. 13k. No guard. Taking the damage. First check. No trigger. Safe. Second check. No trigger. Safe. So that's 1 damage to me. Here we go. Ow. Damage check. No trigger. Persona Ride. Come on. 8k to rear guard. No guard. Taking it. Sorry about that, Melissa. And 1 rear guard down. End of my opponent's turn. My turn. Stand and draw. I ride from the right deck. Omniscience Regalia, Minerva. I discard a critical trigger for the right deck cost. Ride, Minerva. Skill of Chamomile. Check the top cards of my deck to add to soul. Yes, I add Chamomile to the soul. The rest go to the deck. Next, I am calling Knight of Decree Thesis. Thesis is skill. Check the top cards. Nothing. I can't add any of these to the soul. Just shuffle. No, adding the bottom of the deck in any order. Next, I activate my Vanguard skill. I Soul Blast 1, Soul Blasting Melissa. So, and preview heal trigger. Leave my opponent's 3 damage, so leave it on top. Calling Melissa to the back row. Call. Not activating the soul charge, and that ought to do it to the battle phase. First, my rear guard Thesis attacks the rear guard. Hold on. Do I have any cards to put? Nope. Then first Thesis attacks the rear guard. Unboosted. Attacks the rear guard. Yulia 10k to 8k. The attack goes through and pierce. And then Thesis skill, Soul Blast 1. I Soul Blast Let's see. Soul Blast, Witch of Ravens, Chamomile. And retire Faces. And then I put a card from hand or drop into Soul. I move from the drop zone a Melissa into Soul and activating Chamomile skill, Counter Blast 1, Counter Blast, and Superior Call Chamomile to Rear Guard, call! And that ought to be enough. Then next boost my Vanguard, unboosted, attacks the Vanguard, 13k. The attack goes through, Twin Drive, first check. Heal trigger. I give power to, hold on, heal 1, healing 1, and giving power to the Chamomile on the right. Second check. Yes, critical trigger. Giving critical to Vanguard and power to the, hold on, nope, not give the critical and power to Chamomile. Critical up and power up. 1 damaged opponent and boom, damage check. No trigger, safe. Now here comes Minerva's skill. Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 3. Discard a Genesis from hand. Stand, activate Melissa's skill. Superior Call from the drop zone to Soul. I Superior Call it over here. And Soul Charge 1. Soul Charge and Heal Trigger. Now boosted by Melissa, Vanguard, 21k. Perfect Guards. For the Perfect Guard cost, discarding a Grade 2 Larissa. Twin Drive for 1 drive, check. No trigger, Persona Ride, not a bad draw. And the attack fails, but now boosted by Melissa, my right side Chamomile attacks the Vanguard. 38k. 2 criticals. Ah, another Perfect Guard, come on! Discarding for the Perfect Guard cost. A Persona Ride, that's okay I guess, so my attack fails, but now 1 more attack, boosted by Cider. Melissa on the left attacks the Vanguard, 16k. The attack goes through, and boom, 1 damage, damage check. Over trigger, come on, damage negated, she draws a card. That's the end of my turn. Cider goes back to hand. Now my opponent's turn. Oh, come on! She has another Persona Ride in hand. Persona Riding and powering up. Calling the Rear Guard, Melty. Melty skill, call a card from hand. She calls another Melty. Draws a card. Comboing the same skill. Calling more Rear Guards. Calling a Lucalia. Rear Guard to Vanguard, 20k. Guard with a heal trigger, 23k. Attack blocked. And ka-ching, safe. Vanguard, 23k. No guard, taking it. Twin Drive, first check. Come on, a heal trigger. Now she's back to 3 damage. So lucky. Second check. No trigger, so 1 damage to me. Here it comes. Ow! Damage check. Critical trigger. I give all effects to Vanguard. Critical up and power up. Rear Guard to Vanguard, 38k. Not enough. Gotta let the attack go through, no guard. Ow! Damage check. A critical trigger, wasted a critical, come on! All effects to Vanguard, this is not looking good for me. End of opponent's turn, my turn. Stand and draw. I Persona Ride, Omniscience Regalia Minerva, here we go. Persona Ride. Draw a card, power up. I call to the Rear Guard, Blade Fetter Dragon. Go into battle phase. First, boosted by Blade Fetter. My Melissa attacks the Vanguard. 27k. Guarding heal trigger, 28k, just barely enough. Blade Feather skill. After boosting into Soul. Giving power to my Vanguard. The Vanguard unboosted attacks the Vanguard, 30k. The attack goes through. Twin Drive, first check. No trigger, grade 2, second check. No trigger, Chamomile. So, here we go. 1 damage. Boom! Damage check. Ah, come on, another heal trigger. Cannot heal, it powers up. Ah, she keeps getting so lucky. Minerva skill, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 3, and discard a Genesis. I'm discarding Chamomile. Reset Vanguard. -1 drive. Boosted by Melissa in the back row. My Vanguard attacks the Vanguard. 33k. Double guard. 43k. Intercept. 48k. No triggers to pass. First check. No trigger. Perfect guard. The attack fails. Now boosted by Melissa, my right side Chamomile attacks the rear guard Melty, 28k. The attack goes through and boom! One rear guard less to worry about. End of my turn, my opponent's turn. Calling to the rear guard, Alterel and Ducalia. Alterel attacks the Vanguard for 21k. No guard, taking it. Ow! Damage check. No trigger, Gradia Gradel. Not a Persona right card. Vanguard to Vanguard, 18k. Perfect guard. Aegis Mare Dragon. Perfect guard cost. I am discarding the critical trigger Disma. Drive check first. No trigger, safe. And second check. No trigger, safe. So the attack is blocked and ka-chink! Attacking the rear guard. Not gonna guard. Sorry about that, Melissa. One rear guard is gone and end of my opponent's turn. My turn. Stand and draw. Skipping the main phase, I call to the rear guard. Stasis. Call. Stasis skill. Check the top cards of my deck. I add the grade 3, Minerva the Soul. The rest goes to the bottom of the deck, powering up, and calling to the rear guard, Cider. Going straight to battle phase, boosted by Melissa, Vanguard to Vanguard, 26k. The attack goes through, Twin Drive, first check. No trigger, grade 3, Angelica, and second check. No trigger, grade 2, Thesis. Not good. 1 damage. Boom! Damage check. No trigger, safe. Now boosted by Melissa, Chamomile attacks the Vanguard, 23k. The attack goes through, and boom! Damage check. Critical triggers, cannot heal, 6 damage, I win! And game over, I win! That was a really rough fight. Despite some really bad luck on my side and good luck for my opponent's side, I still managed to eke out a win, so I got win, double trigger, attacked 5 or more times in 1 turn, perfect guarded, opponent drew an over trigger, did a Persona right, 8 turns passed, did a superior call, retired 5 or more opposing units, and drew 3 or more times in 1 turn. I got 2750 VP, total 334,825 VP. Pressing A to go next, leaving the fight, returning to fight menu. Back to fight menu, leaving fight menu, going back to the main menu, and onto edit deck menu. We have that, the deck's been built, Cardfight explained, and I just finished testing the deck out in front of you, so first I want to say is, thank you to the viewers for watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload in the near future. I also will show support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that I say, goodbye, and see you all soon!